So, with 2 full weeks of the baseball season already in the books, a lot of fantasy players are looking at their fantasy teams and either saying hooray or saying oh no, with the rash of injuries that might have occurred on their team, with bouts of poor performance, or just overall not feeling comfortable about their lineups. So, with the first 2 weeks already, going and a lot more baseball that we played, we can finally start to understand who might be here to stay and who is worth getting rid of. So I want to start by talking about some of the pickups, at least three pickups that I would personally recommend for any fantasy owner that is playing baseball this year. So the first one I'm going to talk about comes from the Colorado Rockies. That is TJ Rumfield, who made his major league debut this season. He has been phenomenal this season. As you can see, he's 319, 377, 888 slash line over his first almost 50 at bats, including 2 home runs and 5 walks with 11 strikeouts. This was a guy that was traded from the Yankees and bounced around a little bit uh, in the Colorado minor league system after he was traded for Jake Bird. And he has paid off dividends very early on in the young season. And one of the reasons why the Colorado Rockies are 6-8 to begin the season. He has been very good. He has pretty good pop. He also is able to hit for gap power as well. He has a double and a triple as well to start off his season. And he's playing in all 14 games. He does seem like to be a workhorse. And he could be a very interesting asset for a team or a fantasy team that might be struggling at the first base position, whether or not you might have a backup player that's being forced to play in the first base position, because good first basemen don't really come that often. It takes a lot of time to develop a first baseman into a really good player. So he might
in recent years. That's definitely been the case.
Yes, definitely. So that might be somebody to pick up for April and May and see what he does. Give him time, see what he does, and if he continues this tear, he's definitely worth somebody picking up. The second player that I wanted to note is Carter Jensen, one of the Kansas City Royals' top prospects. I believe he was number 16 on the overall prospect list, top 100, to start the season. Really highly touted, did have a very slow start to the season, but over the last 7 days, as of Saturday afternoon, he is 316, 381, and hitting 1,223 in terms of on base plus slugging with 3 home runs. There were some concerns early on in the season throughout the first couple of games of whether or not he was going to stay at the major league level because he was not hitting the ball really well. He seemed to be very apprehensive in the box, didn't seem to be really swinging at a lot of things. And if he did swing, it was either soft contact or a whiff. Now, over the last 7 games, he has turned that around on its head, and he is starting to become the powerhouse for that Kansas City Royals lineup alongside Bobby Witt Jr., who is a perennial MVP candidate. So that might be somebody to watch. And there's a lot of issues with catchers. Maybe somebody who picked up Austin Wells, or maybe somebody who picked up a veteran catcher that might not be doing so well, may want to look at Carter Jensen possibly to pick up, because he is available in about 3/4 of ESPN leagues across the platform, which is very interesting because I thought he would be rostered in more. And I think fantasy teams are losing out on potential production. And if he's able to stay at the major league level and continue this great tear that he's had for the last 7 games, he could be somebody to watch and somebody to pick up and let sit in your lineup. And the third one, which was actually a surprise to me of how well he's been in such a non-pitcher friendly environment, Tomoyuki Sugano. Now, Tomoyuki Sugano was signed with the Baltimore Orioles last year, and he struggled immensely on that 1-year deal. He struggled horribly with the Baltimore Orioles rotation, which was one of the worst rotations in baseball. He left in free agency, was picked up by the Colorado Rockies, and a lot of people avoided him because they were not sure whether he was going to succeed or completely fall apart in Colorado with being a mile high above ground with the different aerodynamics and affecting pitching. There were a lot of concerns. He has turned that on his head in his first 3 starts. He has a 2.16 ERA over the first 3 starts with 12 strikeouts in 16.1 innings pitched, which is the best strikeouts rate that he has had in his first 16 in a 16 inning period throughout his entire career. That's interesting to me. I did some in-depth research on that, and yes, this is the best stretch of his career so far. It seems like he is performing even better in Colorado than he was in Baltimore, and that's very interesting because usually a pitcher usually goes to watch their career fall apart in Colorado, especially with those different aerodynamics that affect sliders, that affect curveballs, that can even affect a really good fastball, even and its movement. So to watch him do that is interesting. And again, he could also fit in the bill for any team that might be struggling with injuries so far. So if you just lost Hunter Brown, if you're worried about Cole Reagans after taking a linebacker or a drive off of his a comebacker off of his hand, nearly his pitching hand, and if you're very worried about losing Zach Eflin if you draft him to Tommy John surgery, Sugano might be a pickup for you. And don't be surprised if he does have a couple of bad starts here and there because, again, he is 36 years old. He is pitching in a very different ballpark. And again, Coors Field is very relentless when it comes to pitching, especially starting pitching. But if you need somebody to put into your lineup for the meantime, if you have maybe a pitcher that is recovering from injury, or if you have a minor leaguer that might be coming up soon, Sugano could probably fill in for the next 30 days and for the next couple of starts. So that might be somebody to watch going forward. What do you think, Doug? Do you have any recommendations on who people should pick up, who they should,
Well, there's guys that I just kind of overlooked in my drafts, on my draft board. The first being, and I regret this, I chose Ranger Suarez over Jose Soriano. And Jose Soriano is arguably the best pitcher in the American League right now, leading the resurgence of the Anaheim Angels. So he is an absolute stud. And Suarez, I don't know what's going on there, but his fastball's topping out at around 90 or less than 90. And he is getting hit really, really hard. And he's set to start this afternoon. I'm hoping that he turns things around. He's had a consistent career up till now, but this is not good, what we're seeing from him so far with that at the beginning of his 5-year deal with the Red Sox. So it's concerning. There's definitely some reason to be concerned with that. Now, Andy Pages, who was not high on most people's draft board, I would imagine, is probably the best offensive player in all of MLB right now, right? 449 batting average, 4 home runs, 16 RBIs. I mean, he's on pace to break the single season RBI record of that was set in like 1930 something by Hack Wilson. Like 190 RBIs he's on pace for. So Andy Pages is just absolutely raking. Now, he came out on fire last year too, and then he really cooled off in the final 2 months of the season. So, I mean, they've always been really hyped with him. They've been really high on him. He's only 25. So he's still got a seriously high ceiling, Pages does. So we'll see what happens there with him. Man, they've got superstars just across the board in that lineup. Now, there's some guys, Kevin McGonigal, there's no surprises there, but it was a risk to pick him up off the draft board to begin with. Most people, I think, overlooked him. They're probably regretting that now because he's clearly the starting shortstop for the Tigers. Now, Alejandro Kirk is down for 6 weeks for the Blue Jays. However, they brought up Brandon Valenzuela, switch-hitting youngster who hit his first home run last night from the left side, a rocket to right field. He looks good. He looks really good. So he could get some real starting time, and who knows? He might push Kirk into more of a DH role when he comes back. We'll see what happens. Slow starts from both Bobby Witt Jr. and Vladimir Guerrero Jr., right? Both juniors who are, in the conversation for top 5 in the game, and certainly the top 5 on most people's draft board. And unfortunately, they are off to a slow start. Bobby Witt Jr. has not hit a home run yet, and Vlad only has 1. So, bit of a disappointment, but I'm sure they'll pick things up.
Yeah, definitely. Again, slow starts all across the league, especially with regards to uh, Vlad Guerrero Jr. and other players, including the former Blue Jay Bo Bichette as well.